Happy Tuesday. We are going to look today at adding some mixed numbers that have like denominators. So when you look at our fractions today, you'll notice that these denominators are the same. That will be the case for every one of our problems. We'll have denominators that are the same. So when we see the mixed numbers, we can go ahead and first add up the whole numbers. That's the big number out front. So I have 3 plus 5 equals 8. And then to add our fractions today, we're going to draw the fractions out and see what we get for an answer. So this first fraction is 3/5. So do your best to draw fifths. And we are going to shade 3 of them. Our next fraction is 4/5. We are going to shade 4 of them. So if I have 3/5 plus 4/5, I need to figure out what that equals. So if I look and see, can I combine any of these pieces in this one and move them over to make a whole fraction? So what I mean by that is I could take this piece right here and fill it in there. I still have more pieces I can move over, so I'm going to take another piece and fill it in. So that means that I now have one whole fraction, and then I have to look at what is remaining. So in this fraction here, what I have left over is I have 2 pieces out of how many total? What's my denominator? My denominator is 5. Okay, so now we added up our fraction parts. So we're going to bring this information back up to the top and add it to our whole number. So I have 8 plus 1 and 2/5. So now I can do the same thing again that we did in step 1, is add my whole numbers. I have 8 plus 1 is 9. And my remaining fraction is 2/5. So my final answer is 9 and 2/5. First thing we're going to do is add our whole numbers. 1 plus 2 is 3. Then we are going to take and draw our fractions. 6/8. I would start with fourths and then split those in half to make eighths. Now we're going to shade in 6 of them. Our other fraction that we're adding is 5/8. So again, make fourths, split those in half, shade 5 of them. So 6/8 plus 5/8. Next, we're going to check and see if we can move any of these pieces over. So it looks like I have space in this first one. So in my first fraction, I have some space still. So I'm going to take one of those pieces and put it here. Then I'm going to take another piece and put it here. Now I'm all out of room, so that means that I made one whole fraction circle, and what I have left is 1, 2, 3 pieces shaded out of my denominator. How many pieces was it broken into? 8. So again, I'm going to take that information now and say plus 1 3/8. Now I'm going to add my whole numbers. 1 plus 3 is 4. And the leftover fraction I still have is 3/8. My final answer is 4 3/8. I'm going to do one more example with you, and then I'm going to have you challenge yourself to pause and try the next 3 on your own. Okay, so you'll see this denominator is a little bit bigger still, and then the last 3 have nice smaller denominators. So the first step is I'm going to add my whole numbers. I have 1 plus 3 gives me 4. Then I'm going to make my fraction circles. So I have 4/9. Ninths are kind of hard. I make them thirds, and I split each of those into 3. I'm going to shade 4 of them. Then I have 7/9. So again, make them into thirds, split them into 3. Shade 7 of them. This first fraction I have 4/9, plus I'm going to add 7/9 to it. Next I'm going to see if I can move any pieces over. So I have this first piece. I have room right here. I have another one. I still have room over in this first fraction circle. So I'm going to keep moving pieces until I run out of room. I'm going to double check how many I moved. I moved a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then make sure that on this side I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. So that means I made one whole fraction circle. And what I have left is I have 1, 2 pieces out of 9, and that's my denominator. Remember, my denominator stays the same. It's still broken into 9 equal parts. So I'm going to take this number and bring it back up here to add 1, 2 ninths. If I add these whole numbers, 4 plus 1, I have 5, and my leftover fraction is 2 ninths. My final answer is 5 2/9. Again, I'm going to challenge you to pause yourself here and try these last problems on your own, and then check back on my answers and see if we solved them the same way. All right, welcome back. The answers that you can check right now are in a square in each of these boxes, you'll notice, and also with a yellow highlighter over it. So check your answers and see if they matched. The one thing I will point out is that in this problem down in the corner, you didn't have any of it shaded left over in this other fraction, so your fraction becomes 0 halves, which then we don't even need to have, because if your fraction is 0 out of 2, that's really the number 0. So we don't even need to worry about that fraction. So then we change it just to 1 whole as our answer to add on. The other thing that you could have done differently than me in this one is that your fraction is 2/4. There's another way to say 2/4, And if you caught that, great job. That means that you saw that half of the fraction was still left over. So an equivalent fraction to 2/4 is a half. So your other answer you could have had for this is 18 and a half. Both of those would be right. This one will get to more of what we'll expect in 6th grade, but both of these I would call right. Go ahead and submit this back to Schoology and have a good rest of your Tuesday. Bye.